This is part 2.5 of the boat repair series. This, quite possibly, is the best part. This is the part of the meal where the main course is served. Now, I want to make a small notation about this portion of the video because I've added several of my opinions in this part of the video, and if I offend anyone or everyone, I'm very, very, very sorry. Please excuse me. However, this is YouTube, and anybody could be watching, and perhaps my opinions might be helpful to whoever happens to be watching that might be able to rectify some issues. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoys this film. Okay, so I mixed my resin in a 1-quart container. I got this at Home Depot. I'm mixing it thoroughly up. See, it's going to become a yellow color once it's all mixed. I'm using a paint stirrer. There's no reason to just, you can do something right. If you're going to do a big job like this, don't be using a coffee cup from Mickey D's. Don't do anything foolish. Just do it right, You'll be happy that you did the job right and you didn't try to rig something up and be foolish, and have to do it over with again. Just take your time and do the job right. Get the materials you need. Don't want to do nothing nasty. Too many people want to fix their boat on the side of the road, and just do a crappy patch, and you have to redo it again anyway. You might as well do it right. I've done this before and I know. I'm 38 years old and I've made all the mistakes fixing my boat that I can possibly make. I've made every mistake in life I can make. Now here I'm going to put on some gloves. Now I'm going to try to not get this crap on my hands because this stuff is not good for you. It's bad for your liver. It'll cause some kind of cirrhosis and it can kill you. Nobody wants to die because they were fixing their boat. I'm going to take this paintbrush like I'm painting my house, and I'm going to paint on my patch, my little patch. Pull underneath, paint a little bit. See, it seeps through. So basically, you don't have to go to any great lengths, but you want to get this thoroughly coated because if you don't, it ain't gonna stick, and it's gonna not be, it's gonna be not really saturated, and it's just gonna be nasty. And there's no reason to do anything nasty. You can do it right the first time and not strain yourself for later. So I'm just painting this. I am thoroughly saturating this fabric. This fabric is going to be so saturated that it's going to have to stick in self-defense. Now this is going to be a 2-part process. I'm going to let it all dry today, and then tomorrow I'm going to do the final part, and I have a finish sander for that. Take this piece of carbon. Pat it, pat it, pat it. So I use carbon on the top of Carbon Kevlar. Why? Okay, so Carbon Kevlar is made, it's kind of a bendable fabric, right? Carbon is something that's more stiff. Carbon Kevlar, once if you get an abrasion or something, it'll fray. I don't want it to fray. I want my material to stay sticky until I want it to stay sticky. And I'm going to go with the squares in the material and just paint all my resin on there appropriately. You don't want to make a mess out of this. There's no reason to make a mess out of nothing. You know, our government makes a mess out of enough stuff. You don't need to make a mess fixing your boat. This of course, I'm making this statement assuming there's veterans out there. This is for the next person that's a veteran that's fool enough to try what I'm doing, to try to meet the American president so they can give him a piece of their mind in a polite, tactful way. You know, when you're talking to the American president about the state of Veterans Affairs, you of course don't want to talk about, like, be tactful. You know, you gotta preface it with all due respect. Just like if you gotta tell the sergeant major there was salsa on his uniform, you wouldn't say, "Sergeant Major, you all ate up." You would say, "Excuse me, Sergeant Major, you have salsa on your uniform," with all due respect. You know, you want to be, so, you know, I'm going to get to talk to, hopefully, if I make the Olympic team, whatever president is in charge and the commander-in-chief, and get to tell him why I trained so hard for 4 years. I'll say, "Mr. President, I trained hard for 4 years in my old age simply so I could talk to you and tell you about the state of Veterans Affairs in this nation. Tell them about all the guys that are tired of sitting in the waiting room waiting for their daggone PTSD therapy. Tell them about the old Civil War vet I saw. Tell them about what I've been through. Not that it's any great thing. There's people that's been through far worse than me. You know, it's a blessing we're all still alive. But hopefully I'm going to be able to do something decent." Boat repair is good for us folks with, you know, any kind of cognitive disability, because it's a process, and it's a step-by-step process, and it's good to do things like this when we have brain injuries and so forth, to get our brains back functioning, working, thinking of in a process way. A lot of people just want to roll over and die and just be like, "Oh God, you know, I got out of the military, they threw me out, the world don't have a use for me anymore, I'm pitiful." And it's easy to think that way. I've thought that way. You know, I wanted to be an officer. I wanted to be a daggum colonel or something, but you know, it didn't happen. And I'm kind of grateful because I get to race my boat now. But not everybody gets to, sometimes life happens and you just got to adapt and overcome and keep driving on and get back out there. You know, these civilians, they need us. They need us. These people in my sport need me so bad because I tell them how it is. There are a lot of little junior level athletes. Man, when I get out there, they're inspired by me. And I can tell them, because I see kids, they'll cry if they miss a gate. Shit, I ain't crying. I'll tell them to, I told some kids the other day, I saw these little girls crying. I said, "Little girl, you ain't being shot at. It ain't that bad." You know, and I will, and I got the idea to say that from a guy named Sergeant Wisdom. I'm serious, that was his name. I was in airborne school and I could not PLF on my right side very well, because my D was jacked up, which I found out later. But anyway, it's another story for another day. But anyway, he told me, I was scared to death that I was not going to pass airborne school, and he told me, "Quit, You ain't got nothing to worry about. Nobody's shooting at you. And I took that to heart, and I remember that the whole rest of my military career, and then in my life later. Nobody was shooting at me, so shit wasn't that bad. And that's what I tell them kids I see, you know. So as you can see, I'm putting the seam on now, and this is a real tedious process. If I hadn't have been through all, you know, the 2 VA sessions, the VA therapy sessions I got in Durango from my VA therapist, I had to wait 6 months for them. You know, I wouldn't be able to even tolerate this process. God bless the VA. I shouldn't make fun of them, but Lord, they kind of deserve it, you know. Anyway, here I am. Notice how I'm making a wrap with this saran wrap. I'm trying to get it so it cramps what I'm doing. And then I go back and smooth out the air. I learned to do this from a guy named Butter. Butter is a good dude. He just got married to a nice lady, and I'm glad he found somebody to marry in his age. Incidentally, Butter's daddy also got married a few years ago, and I'm also glad Butter's daddy found somebody to marry. Oh, I'm glad it's good when you find a mate. Lord, I've not found one yet, and I feel for the poor man that's going to marry me. Oh. I see, right here I'm having a little issues. Kevlar ain't thoroughly saturated. That's it. You gotta thoroughly saturate this Kevlar. I got my back side crimped on. Some people, when they're doing a stern, like the end building it, they'll use a balloon or a condom, a non-lubricated condom, to kind of crimp down because they're latex and they'll stretch. I've used a glove before to crimp down my fabric. I've used whatever was available, but you know, like I said, the more planning you do, the better this is. So you got to plan your materials out. You know, a lot of people don't plan enough, and it's just a holy mess. You never want to exacerbate a situation. Never. Anyway, hopefully my fellow vets are wanting to be, you know, sport ambassadors to this country, for this country, because of course as vets are the only person suitable for being sport ambassadors. You know, they want to train kids to do this, but you know, those poor kids, they don't know what it means to, you know, represent the United States of America sometimes. I mean, they think they do. Well, really, you know, us vets are really the only people that are suited to do this, you know. Be Olympians, and especially us disabled vets, because, you know, we've been out there and we know what it means to work and get hurt and, you know, serving our country. And I think that, you know, these poor kids they have do this, you know, be these Olympians. I feel so sorry for them, because it's like, you know, I've watched them and they don't know why they're even doing it. They want to put their application. They're like, I'm gonna put this on my application to Harvard Law School and go to Harvard, and that's the wrong reason to do anything. You know, you should be serving your country just for the simple aspect. You want to bring honor and glory to your nation, having the best performance you can have. You know, I think a lot of the kids, you know, they get out there and they don't have as good of performances as they could because they're capable of in international competition, because they're doing it for the wrong reasons. You know, and I think the right reasons are always, you know, the reasons that you want to, you know, serve your country. That's it. You know, I know that when I had that attitude in my heart every day, I didn't always have that attitude because it gets real frustrating, you know, being a soldier. But when I had that, the days I was able to endure the most were the days that, you know, I had it in my heart, I want to serve my country, you know. And it's like the whole thing of selfless service. And it's hard sometimes because, you know, we, shoot, man, you want to freaking, you know, you're out there in the middle of the damn rain, just like with kayaking. You know, there's days I paddle in the rain, I paddle in the sleet, I've paddled, you know, I've trained this year in Durango in like freezing temperatures. Oh my God, my hands were painful. But you know, it wasn't nothing no worse than having to, you know, run in Germany. I mean, shoot, with the, you know, all those fast road guards that I'd run with, 17-year-old boys, you know, it wasn't no different. And I think that when people go out with good intent and really, if you can remember always why you're doing something, it makes you more successful. It's easy to forget when stuff gets hard why you do it, you know. Right now it's just killing me. I really hate doing boat repair, but I do it anyway because, well, I gotta keep my boat in good shape. This boat was bought for me by the Challenged Athletes Foundation. God bless them. I'm so happy they bought me this boat, or I'd been like SOL, you know. Like, I had a boat that my good friend that I bought, and my good friend and I were going to a race in Canada right after I got out, and I mean, we had ourselves a little vehicular altercation, and my boat got ruined. But I fixed it and still raced in that thing for a while. You know, it's just about ain't not quitting no matter what happens. Stuff's gonna happen. The poo gonna hit the fan. It's the way it is. Is Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, I'm actually in Mount Holly now, and incidentally, the reason I have this nice little pad to live in is a fellow veteran, female veteran. Her son was out here training, and he had to go back to school, so she rented. They had a lease sign on this place, and she rented it to me real cheap. And that's something else I want to address since we're talking. It's important that, you know what, the government ain't going to take care of us as vets. The poor civilians ain't going to understand us. You know, ain't none of them civilians understand us. It's important to create us these veterans networks, you know, so we can, when you get out, you know, help if you got, you know, if you got an extra $10 and there's a guy begging on the side of the street and he's got a homeless veteran sign, put it in his jar, you know. And you know, if you're an old guy and see a younger vet struggling, shoot, tell him what's up in the world, you know. Tell him, hey, you know, I gotta tell y'all this story. I was in the middle of a grocery store one time, and I was mad. I was having a fit because I was real sick, and I'd been to I couldn't even get an appointment in the VA, and I was sick. I was mad as hell, you know, and I had to get some. I'd been there for 4 hours in the emergency room. You know, I was sick. I had something up in my lungs that I probably got. I was convinced I got while I was in the military, and I may or may not have. But I was real sick. I was just throwing a fit, and I got mad. I did, and there's this guy, and I know he was a Marine. He came up to me, and he just told me to calm right down, and he just helped me out in that situation. And I think it's important for, you know, a lot of my fellow vets have really taken up time with me and made sure that, you know, I've done right, and I owe them a lot. And I think creating those veteran networks are so important. You know, there's organizations like the American Legion, and you know, a lot of us lady vets, we think that organizations like that, oh, it's just for those damn men. I can't see any more of them. But you know, the American Legion's for us too. You know, we're ever going to get anything changed, we gotta make these, we gotta be kind of allied with these folks, you know, these American Legion people. You know, we gotta, you know, because we gotta have our voice heard, and there's a lot of them. You know, there's a lot of, I'm a member of the Legion myself, Post 143 down in Bayfield. And you know what, those, you know, I'm so grateful for, you know, that opportunity, because the American Legion right now is working on trying to get, you know, a lot of things changed for us female vets. They have a brochure out, and they're trying to make the VA give us services. And I'm so thankful to our these guys that are realizing, you know, these men realize, ladies, what we've sacrificed. I think they're starting to. You know, there's some guys that don't always treat us well in the military because they're dirt bags. But yeah, if you listen to this and you a dirt bag, you know you're a dirt bag, and just, you know, just don't be offended. But anyway, you know, there are some good guys out there that served their country, and they see that we fought alongside of them, and we need our damn health care just like they do. You know, and it's, I think, you know, we don't need to be segregist feminists. It's easy to want to do, though. I mean, Lord, I want to be a segregist feminist as much as anybody else. See, right now I'm having to fix my mistake, but it's not the end of the earth. Anyway, but you know, but you just gotta, you know, join in and, you know, exercise that leadership they gave you in the freaking military. Use it for something. I know there's some shit you can't use. I'm never going to pack a T10 Delta parachute again, but I tell you what, I got some great leadership skills in the Army. You know, I learned how to be tactful to people, you know, because I was an E4, you know, and I was a smart E4, but I tell you what, there's a way to even lead from the ranks, you know, being an E4. You know, there's a way to even, is an E4, square your NCOs away if they're jacked up, you know, and it's the same in the civilian world. You'll see people that are jacked up, you know, that maybe are running something, and there's a polite way to just tell them, you know. I think that there's a polite way to do everything. Anyway. Alright. Okay. Well, I hope the neighbors don't try to put me in the loony bin. Talking to myself. Oh, thank you, Lord. even if you make a mistake, you can fix it with glass. It's not the end of the earth. So right now what I'm doing is I'm going to take this and just stretch it. And, you know, kind of make a good tight seal on here. What I did is, a lot of people use tape, and I use tape sometimes, but I just wrap this in saran wrap. You know, sometimes it's good just to do that. And you know, I didn't put too many any bubbles in my fabric. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go get me a sponge now. So I went inside and I got me a sponge, and what I do with the sponge is I put a little water on it. And the water, what it does is it just sticks down this. What this plastic is for is to just make yourself a solid seal. You know, kind of get this fabric where the resin will absorb it, and you have to push this stuff down. And I didn't do the best job, but whatever, you know, it's not the end of the earth. And I'm gonna just, you know, tape. What I'm gonna do is use this tape and pressurize. Now that I've got my plastic down with this tape, and push, make sure the tape is good, push all the bubbles and the air and the junk out with the tape. I've wet it with my sponge. I know you're like, well, the tape ain't gonna stick because you wet it. The tape's just to add pressure. I didn't just do that. Okay, I did. Oh well. And it's not the end of the earth. So now I see, now I'm starting to get some air bubbles here. And I'm pushing them out with the tape. So I'm making sure this saran wrap stays on. This patch is going to be good. There. So that's it. I'm going to leave this till tomorrow morning. It's going to take 24 hours for this to set. It's slow cooking. That's it. Have a good day. Thank you for watching this YouTube presentation on how to fix a boat for the American Veteran Sport Ambassador. Have a good day. Bye.